Okay, okay. But this is good. So how many people we have? We have 17 already. Okay.
Yes, we are done.
Okay, great. So thanks everyone. And I know that since it is, considering that we have Kuyil, one of our star speakers, I'm sure the audience also will be in equally big numbers. Okay. So welcome all of you. And Siddharthan is also there. Hi, Siddharth, welcome. So great to have you as part of our club. Siddharth, can you hear us?
Thank you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Give me a moment. I'll be on the cam in a few minutes.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I'm sure Siddharth is having the feeling of a student who's written an exam and the teacher is going to correct in front of him.
Yes, exactly.
First time, having the author and the reviewer in the same place and getting a review done. We have seen we have done, I think, close to maybe 40 or 50 reviews till now. And it has always been a case when the authors have reviewed their own books. Okay, I don't think we have done like this face to face. Okay, where we put both in the same room and ask for a review. So this is great. So while Siddharth is also getting ready with his video, etc. So thanks everyone for joining. It looks like an interesting book. I heard the title, okay, Right to Remarry. And so when I saw this book, okay, and I could not find time to read the book, but I went through some snippets on what the book is about, okay, and I understood that it's about, say, a women remarriage and how society treats this very differently, okay, vis-a-vis a man getting remarried. And so I was trying to look at, okay, so what is the difference? What is the equivalent? So when you talk about a man's life, okay, 7 stages of man's life, okay, you talk about an infant, okay, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, okay, unable to do anything of his own, okay, then the man becomes the next stage, okay, is a say whining schoolboy, okay, then you get into an emotional lover, okay, then you become a devoted soldier, okay, then you get to become a wise judge, okay, as a man, okay, then you become old, okay. So man goes through all these nice stages, okay, step by step, okay, and the society looks around and celebrates a man, okay, getting to each of these stages, okay, pampering him, saying that, wow, he has become a good schoolboy now, okay, or after a schoolboy, now he is ready for work. Before that, a devoted soldier, okay, wise judge and all of that. Then I was trying to look at the equivalent of a woman's life, okay, how we look at, if we ask, okay, hey, can you describe what are the stages which a girl or a woman goes through her life? Then we will think hard and we will say, infant to start with. Then we will say infant, then becomes a child. Okay, then next stage that we can relate for a woman, we start talking about a woman reaching a stage of puberty. Okay, then we say, okay, what will be the next stage? Oh, she gets ready for reproduction, and then she starts delivering babies. Okay, then we talk about the next stage. We say, that's it, no? So then the woman becomes elder. She's an elderly old woman. She should be quiet. She should be content. That's it. So look at how we look at man's life, okay, as say somebody who needs help, somebody who is a whining schoolboy, somebody who is a great soldier, somebody who is a great judge, a wise man, okay, then an elderly guy who needs help, okay. So man gets all the pampering across stages. For women, it's biological, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how the society looks at women, okay, when you ask for even a description of the different stages. Okay, which we tend to think, no, it has all changed. You go to the US, you see how progressive they are. Okay, and it's equal rights for men and women in advanced countries, rich countries, developed countries, educated countries. Okay, and we say that, oh no, it's all happening in the US. So then the reason why it is not happening in India is because of our poverty or education. okay, etc. So we have reasons and reasons and reasons, okay, to give comparisons and say that, hey, this is why it is happening, this is why it's not happening, etc. I think it's all say, and society starts deciding, okay, the individual's life and feelings. Okay, somebody sitting outside the house decides how you should feel, what you should do inside the house, how you should live your life, etc., which is quite funny. Now, what many people do not know is this kind of a progressive behavior, okay, has been encouraged not now, okay, but what 40, 50 years ago even in our own state, okay, with say people like say Periyar propagating that it is absolutely fine, okay, to remarry and become a progressive society, okay, even within India, even within our place. So I'm sure, okay, since we have say Kuyil and Siddharthan, okay, I'm sure there'll be a lot of these facets that we will get to hear. Okay, and without much ado, okay, I'll hand over to Kuyil, and wherever say Siddharthan has to ask for extra marks to pass the exam, okay, feel free to raise your hand and ask the teacher for it. Okay, with this, yeah, Kuyil, over to you.
Thank you, Anna, for a very beautiful introduction. So Siddharth's right to marry. That's what we're going to review today. And I would start with how I came across the book. So my Facebook was filled with reviews and messages about this book. But I had started, moving away from Facebook around that time, and I actually did not, give too much of attention to the book. Frankly, that's how it happened. But then in March, a friend texted me and said, "See, there's a book by this name, and take it to Amma. We want her to read that, and if she speaks about it somewhere, it would get a better mileage." And that's how it came to me. I said, "Okay, fine," and I just did tell her, people want you to read this book. I'm not sure about what it is, but I'll find it out." And then another friend texted me in 2 days gap, and she also said the same thing. We want Amma to read it and speak about it somewhere. I was like, "Okay, what is this book about?" And then I went and read about it in one of the reviews. And that's when I realized that it was actually Siddharth's story, because I had known the story from his brother's Facebook post. So I just the outline of what happened. And that's when I thought, okay, it's the same family. I thought, okay, this is another family initially, but then I realized, okay, it's the same family. And then I did get to read the book, and I did take a long time to read it, because as I'm to start it, because I've not yet moved to the Kindle version of reading books. I'm still old school, waiting for the books to get published, getting it, smelling it, and then starting it. But then when that was not available with this book, I had to start reading it through the PDF format that Siddharth had sent to Amma. So I completed the book in 1.5 to 2 hours, if I'm not wrong, because it's a very small book. It's only 35 pages and it's very easy to read. Siddharth has not put in too much of, like I remember telling when I read the Tandoor murder, that I had to keep looking at the dictionary for almost every single line. That it was not the case with Siddharth's book. It was very easy to read. The words that were used were something all of us can understand and relate to. You don't have to keep checking your dictionary every single moment. And it did not hamper the flow of the book. And that was why I think that was one of the most important things I wanted to say about it. So the entire book is set from Siddharth's view. It's his narration of the incident or the story. So the story starts when Siddharth is a small boy. We just have a small happening in 2019 where their house is locked and somebody has taken the key. And we're literally going into the flashback as to what led to that incident. So when Siddharth is a small boy, his parents, they're all from a village in Tamil Nadu. And they're not from a very posh or a rich background. So his parents are daily workers, and that's how they are earning. And since he has a brother also, a younger one, Vivek, his original name is Bhaskar and his brother's name is Vivek. So they're all school kids, and when the family is in a dire need to get more money for their education and upliftment, their parents are moving to Mumbai. So both his father and his mother, they're moving to Mumbai for their work. So maybe they might get a better income. And Siddharth is left with his uncle's family, where he's a very naughty schoolboy. He bunks schools. He does not attend classes regularly. He enjoys playing. He enjoys all that. And one day he gets caught by his uncle. He asks him not to tell this to his parents because they will get worried and they'll come back, and only now they're beginning to earn better and getting into a better position. But his uncle does not listen to him, and he informs his parents. And so Siddharth's parents end up coming back to their village, and again they go back to their old menial jobs. And Siddharth and his brother also are pushed to work along with them, maybe smaller jobs. They sell curd and all that, in the morning, and small jobs, whatever they can at that age. So they keep doing that when they are kids, and that's how the family runs. So Siddharth finally gets a bit serious about his education in by the end of his school years, if I'm not wrong, somewhere in 12th, and he ends up coming second in his 12th standard exams in school second. So he then moves on to do his higher education in a college in Vellore, and once he enters that college, his life takes another shift. So he is new to this whole teaching in English thing, and so he struggles a lot to observe all of that. And that's it's like a different situation because his father falls sick at the same time. He is an alcoholic, maybe not too much if I'm not wrong, but he is an alcoholic, and so it has taken a toll on his health, and he's admitted in the hospital. So that has his own issues in the college, adapting to it, where everybody is from an English speaking background and they're able to understand and communicate effectively in English. And so all this is happening at the same time, and I think as a young guy he should have gone through a lot of emotional turmoil. And one day his father becomes serious, his health takes a very serious setback, and he goes there to his native. When they see him, it is almost at the end of his lifetime, and in a few days he does pass away. And so that's life takes another shift. He's now the eldest son of the family. He has to handle the family burden, he has to take care of his studies, he has to take care of his younger brother, everything comes together. So then he works in Chennai. He does all part-time jobs during his college holidays. He comes to Chennai. He then goes to Kerala to do daytime labor kind of works, all the physical labor works. And those were the portions I felt were, I felt very sorry that I had to, of someone of my age had to go through all that to even come up. The disparity that all of us are facing, that's what actually hit me hard during that particular portion. And then with all that, his mom also is pushed to come and do all that work, because after his father, she's the sole breadwinner. So all the menial jobs, be it housework, the construction work, so whatever they get, they're all doing it. His younger brother also joins them. So the entire family struggles hard to come to a better position. And then Siddharth puts all his effort into getting a better education as such, and he finds work and all that, and now he's in a better place. So when all this is happening, he's introduced into the world of Periyar and his ideologies, and he comes across the different, Periyar's view of women, the right to remarry, what Periyar advocated for, and all that. And that's when he further gets into the Dravidian ideology, because his book says how much he's very grateful to Kalingar schemes. So that's how it happens. And he comes across this right to remarry and all, and it has an impact in his mind, but he's not ready to take that big step in his mom's life. And also another person, he says that somebody else also asked him the same question as to why is your mom living her life like this? Why can't you guys get her remarried? And for him, it's again a cultural shock, because none of us are trained to answer such a question, because in our society, the remarriage of a woman is still a taboo topic. So he does not entertain that idea initially, but it does play a role, and it actually makes him think better. And a few years from then, he actually thinks maybe, yes, it's time to get her remarried because she needs a life too. And so he approaches the topic. But then his mom, again, she's also from the society who's been trained to think in a particular way. She's also scared about how the society would react, her family would react, her village would react, and all that. So she does not, again, she takes a step back and she constantly stops this topic. But then Siddharth is putting his continuous effort, and by constantly talking, telling her that the society is not a big issue and all that, they finally get her to accept to this whole idea. And Siddharth is getting more and more progressive by this stage. So he tells his mom, you choose the man you want to marry. So his mom actually kind of meets three men. The first two she does not like, she's not comfortable with them. And finally she comes across the third person who's introduced to her through a friend. So she goes and meets them directly. She goes to his family. She meets his children and all that. And she likes that family. And she says that, yes, I like this person and I would like to marry him. So that being a very understanding son, goes to his place, talks to them. And he is also finally confident about his mom's choice, and they proceed to get her married to that person. And that's when all hell breaks loose, because it's a village. Even in Chennai, it's still not a very common thing to happen, the remarriage of a mother. And in a village, we cannot even think about how it's going to be. So everybody starts mocking them, fights with them. All his relatives are against it. But then Siddharth is very strong. Siddharth and his brother, for that matter, they're very strong that they should get her married because she needs a life of her own. And they do have, it happens in a very small scale in a temple. And it's been 2 to 3 years, if I'm not wrong, 2 years. And his mom is very happy at present. And that's what has pushed Siddharth to write the book, so that, more people will think a bit better, have this progressive idea. And, we will not look at it as a taboo topic, and maybe not something as a societal sin or something, because women do need a life of their own. Just because they become mothers, or just because they're married and they've lost their husband, they need not live a life all alone. And I think to an extent, they are ostracized from their community, from their village as such. But his mother is happy with her husband now. And for him also, it's again a second marriage. He has kids of his own, and his mother is now the mother to his kids also. And I think they're now a pretty big happy family. And I am personally happy for Siddharth and his family. So actually, I've come across the story through his brother's Facebook post, but reading it from Siddharth's point of view, as a whole story, as a book, as to each event, as to what happened, it was a completely different feeling. I personally felt that the book had so much about Siddharth and very little about his mother, who is actually the protagonist of the story. That alone could have been worked well. That I did tell Siddharth that this could have been done. And also, to an extent, I felt that I was not able to connect with the characters much, except for Siddharth, probably because I spoke to him before I read the book, or probably because we might be of the same age group and all that. I was able to connect better to Siddharth's character than other characters. And I think maybe he's writing it into a bigger novel, as a novel, full length novel. And these are things that I think he should concentrate when he does write the book. But reading the book in its this small version of the book itself was a very different experience. It did put me through an emotional roller coaster ride, because when I started reading about his childhood, I was like constantly thinking, okay, what were we doing at this stage? Okay, we are of the same age. So what was I doing then? Okay, see, people go through a lot of things in different versions, and finally we are almost in the same place. He's an IELTS trainer, I am an IELTS trainer, and all that. So I was thinking that, okay, see, life does have its own has its own way of putting things together. But Siddharth's decision to fight against his family, his village, everything, just to make sure that his mom has a happy life, is something that I as a person feel really impressed by. And I'm very happy that they're all happy. End of the day, that's it. Yeah, that's the outline and the review of the book together. Anna, I'm not able to hear you.
Yeah, no, this is really good, and good to see Siddharth also on video. Yeah, Hi, Siddharth. I think you skipped through Siddharth.
Yes. Thank you, Kuyil. Thank you.
Yeah, good.
I have been smiling and listening to you. You should have seen my face when I was listening to you. I'm so happy that you've taken time and you all have put in efforts to review the book. I'm really happy. Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, so one is the book and say the story, etc. But the depth of what it conveys, okay, the meaning of what it conveys, and what say a family has gone through. Okay, I think it is clearly a reflection of say how much more we need to still progress. Okay, as a society, and maybe some families like this do create that small dent. Okay, and the difference, okay, for others to emulate and follow. Okay, but I don't know whether I see Kuyil was using the word taboo many times. Okay, so I'm sure it is not just a word, okay, that she was using. Okay, but it is also a reflection of how the if we are asked to talk about it for 10 minutes, how many times society will call it as taboo. Okay, it is also a reflection of that. Okay, it is not looked at as say something which is normal. Okay, it is and this is a very say mature case where the children say helped say their mother to find say a partner at an elderly age to be of support, etc. Okay, but why should even the children help? Okay, the mom should be given all the independence to find what amongst three or among 10, etc. Mom should have the independence to do it. Okay, so what do you think, Kuyil and Siddharth? Okay, and is it changing? Are there some statistics of remarriage in Chennai and in India? And what are the statistics saying? Are we developing as a society in this space? Are we going forward or backward? Siddharth, maybe you can help us understand this.
Yeah. Now, before we look at the remarriage, we should first look at the marriage. If we take the Indian society, marriage itself is a very regressive institution. It is there only to exploit women in every possible way. Marriage, if we look at the marriage, I'm not talking about the remarriage. Marriage itself is an institution especially designed only to exploit women in every possible way.
I need to lock my room now. Yeah.
Is my voice clear? So no problem. Yes. So
we are just hearing another song along with your voice. So
yes. There are functions going on around.
Flavor to your version of the story. See, it's a marriage song that's going in the background. Content.
Yes. There is. We have marriage functions going on, but is my voice clear? No problem. Yes.
Yeah.
It is clear. Okay. So as I was saying, we should question the institution of marriage itself here in Indian society. I don't think I need to explain. I guess we've got a lot of people with a lot of experiences with marriage. I see only elder people here. Now, one moment. So here we see this marriage as handing women over to somebody like an object. Right? So they get married and they have other responsibility to fill in when they get married, and the whole career would be disturbed, and they eventually they would become dependent on men, and their entire life would disappear from the marriage. So this is the problem with the marriage there. And of course, Periyar has advocated the same. He does not agree with the marriage, but of course, we can't immediately eradicate a system. We can't completely talk about a system that is so prevalent in a society, but we can step by step go ahead and talk about the discriminations. We can first eradicate the discriminations, and then we can finally go to the system that is there. For example, you can take this. That would be controversial. So we will get back to this marriage here. So he started advocating this self-respect marriage, where people can marry whomever they want. So this approach is called pragmatic rationalism. So we have got people talking about rationalism. They can write about rationalism, but when it comes to the ground reality, things would be completely different. Now, I don't believe in any religion or God, but I conducted my remarriage in a temple because they were interested in they believed in God, and I did not have any authority over their opinions. So that is a very different case. When it comes to remarriage, this is again a problem there. Marriage itself is one moment. Here kind of an endogamy thing. So to enforce the costist ideas there, and to save costism, we have these kinds of marriages happening. But think of remarriage here. It is very difficult in rural backgrounds. Now, I wanted to convey only two things through this book. The first one is, if we look at some elite societies, or the people who are there in the socially or economically forward community, they would see this as some kind of news. But if you come and look at rural backgrounds, so the entire thing would be a completely viewed in a completely different perspective. One moment. Give me a moment, please.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Now here, if you take people here in the village, we have got people working coolie jobs. Like they go, they do whatever they find for that day, and they get paid there. And they have a lot of risks here, and you can see a lot of deaths happening. If they go there and do some construction work, some accident happens, that person would die. But we may not have these kinds of things in the city. Now I wanted to convey this message that this remarriage can happen even at a socially economically backward society, and in rural backgrounds it is very much possible that remarriages can happen. That is the only reason I wanted to give a lot of information about the background where I was from, where I am from. So I wanted to give this convey this message there. So remarriages can happen in all the parts of society. We need to move forward, we need to take initiatives there. So the reason why people don't look at this remarriage like marriages, we have social role assigning thing. So if you take a family, of course, family system must be questioned here. So that is the base of all the discriminations, I would say, if you don't take me wrong. Okay. These are just my opinions. You may have your own opinions and ideas based on the experiences you had. So please consider this as my opinions and look at them that way. We have this social role assigning things. So if you take a family, we have father, mother, and we assign a role there. If you take a father, and he has got some social responsibilities to fill in. If you take a mother, and we give some roles there, and the mother has to fill in those social rules and norms. So if, at the same case with sons, daughters, so you can take any relationship, any relation you want, they have some roles assigned to them, and we do not look at them as separate individuals that have their own wishes, own ideas, own interests, own lives. So that is where everything falls apart when we get into the family structure, and we lose our individuality here in our society. They have roles assigned, and we are supposed to follow those rules irrespective of what we think and what our desires are. So that is where, when it comes to remarriage, we completely disregard an individual's wishes, desires there. And we have mother, and we have this role assigned till she dies. She has to fill in, and she has to take those responsibilities. And it doesn't matter what happens around her life, and she has to go ahead and fill in all those things. So if we drop this role assigning things, if we start looking at all the people as individuals that have their own wishes, desires, goals, dreams, I do not think anybody is going to have any problem with the remarriage. So that is how I started looking at things. Of course, I had very I had a lot of self conflicts with my thought since the beginning. It is not like I had this progressive idea at the beginning. When one of my teachers asked about this remarriage, I felt disgusting about it. To be honest, I'm very honest here. I did not subscribe to this idea, as I have not been introduced to such kinds of things. I had I had my auntie, we call it Periyamma here in Tamil. So she had lost her husband long back. It had been almost 10 plus years. She alone raised her 3 children. But we had, I had such kinds of examples living around me. So this remarriage thought, I could not take in this thought of remarriage at all at the beginning. And years passed by, and it had taken me almost 4 years to realize that this was all right. So she was an individual. She had her own interests, life to lead in. I did not have any control. Of course, it is not like I'm giving freedom to her. It is her right to live with someone that she wishes to live her life with. So it took me a lot of years to realize this, and then we arranged this against all the problems we had here in the village. You can see my village is a very small village. We've got only 500 people. Everybody is a family. Like everybody is a family. If I go and stand on the street, so everybody would greet me. Everybody would ask me how I am. So this is close community kind of thing. So here it is a very difficult thing. So the first thing, as I told you, these remarriages can and should happen at economically, socially backward societies. The second thing I wanted to convey through this book, which I failed to do, I realized this after people conveyed their reviews about the same. I wanted to talk about my mom's courage. Now, if you look at this, we did not have anything to lose in the marriage. So if you take my brother and I, of course, we have achieved the age of marriage. That is a different case. Other than this, we did not have anything else to lose through this marriage. We all the relatives, all our family members were against this, but we did not depend on them. We stayed in the village only till our school days. When we started college, uh, we had college friends. When we started working, wherever we go, we develop friends, we develop relations. So our society would move on. But if you take my mom, she had lived here for 45 years. We got her married at the age of 45, 2 years back. Um, so she had lived her entire life in the village, and she had everything here in the village, her relatives, friends. So her whole world revolved around this village here till the age of 45. Now we need to see she had the courage to take this decision of remarrying, with the possibility of risk of losing everybody that she had known in her entire life. Now we need to see how her desire was and how people think about their own lives. So they are ready to leave everything behind there. So we need to I wanted to convey this. I wanted to talk about my mom's courage there in taking the decision. Of course, now everything has become normal. She comes and visits the village every day. She's there only from 2 kilometers away. So she comes here every day here. We are working from home, so everything has become normal now. That is the second thing I wanted to convey through this book. These are the only two things I wanted to convey. If you have any other questions and doubts, we can I can answer and we can discuss.
Yeah. So look, I was looking for statistics, okay, on this topic. Have you seen some statistics on Chennai or Tamil Nadu over the last, say, 40, 50 years? Okay, and have remarriages, and is the graph going up, going down, staying stable?
Yes, the graphs are going up. Statistically speaking, remarriages are increasing. As of course, we are moving towards progressive society. It will take years to that happen. So changes, these kinds of social changes can't happen on a single day, or it will take generations to happen. So things are changing. Things are changing.
Okay, okay, which is good to know. Okay, you
And
have strong views. You
yeah.
have strong views on family itself as an institution. But do you have an alternative suggestion for marriage then?
Now, unfortunately, at this point of time, we can't completely regard marriage there. We can't completely regard the system, but we need to uh, one moment. We can't completely eradicate the system at this moment, but we can make some changes there. All the regressive ideas related to the marriage should be dropped. Regressive ideas in the sense, the first one, as you know, it is like women are treated like an object here in the institution of marriage. That is the thing. And everybody, every individual should be allowed to marry someone that they are interested in. That is the first problem we have. Of course, we have this marriage. It is kind of an endogamy thing here in Indian society to reinforce casteism, to protect casteism. You can see this. You can read about this endogamy in detail in a book called Castes in India by Ambedkar. He discusses this thing in very much detail. And you can even go back and look at things in the past where we had this sati. Women were buried in, women were forced to enter this fire there. When their husbands died, they were forced to die along with them. So to save this casteism, but it did not happen the other way around. So we have changed a lot as a society. We have eradicated a lot of bad things, but we have a lot of things to change as well. We need to go step by step. So that is the first thing. Women are treated as an object there. And the second one, of course, again, this is about women. They completely lose everything that they have in their career. So they completely depend on men there after their marriage, and everything takes a completely different turn from there. So these two things should, the third thing, second thing here. And the third one, we have this obligation to bear a child. And you can see how women are treated if they are not able to bear any child. And this thing should be questioned. And what is the need to have a child after their marriage? Of course, if it can be considered to be an individual's choice. If they wish to bear a child, and they can bear a child, but this should not be forced upon a women. Now you can see women who are not able to give birth to a child or treated like a malady, and we have this term used here, and they would face a lot of discriminations after this year if they live in a community or live in rural places. In the city side, I think things are changing. So these three things must be questioned here in the marriage. And of course, as we go ahead, things can change, I guess. So it should, marriage should be like an event that both two persons, and two persons can be anybody. So it is not like we look at this marriage as uh, agreement between only two genders, male and female. And we should also look at other things as well. If a male interested in a male, and they should live with them. If we have a female interested in a female, and they should have the right to live with them. So these kinds of these four things must be questioned here. And I think things can change as we go ahead.
Yeah, interesting thoughts. Maybe we'll leave the floor for others, okay, for their questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions, comments from others? Yeah, feel free. Yeah. We see RC Madam Krupa. Yeah. Yeah. Any questions, comments? Please feel free to.
Yes. Any.
Like I said, we have a unique and opportunity where we have the author.
Yeah, I have a question to you, brother. I should appreciate that Kuyil has done a excellent job today by presenting the book in such a fashion that created interest in people amongst us to write. I wanted to ask you this question: Are we, I mean, moving towards a society where marriage, you know, Periyar has once said that marriages should be condemned; it should be considered as a criminal act. Will this, are we moving towards such society? Because we see more and more, of course, Syed has been asking for this status. We don't know, but we see more and more people, you know, moving towards that single society or live-in society. So what is your take on this?
Now, the question is, are we moving towards a society where marriage will not be there?
Yes.
Yes. Now, I do not think we can ever have this in foreseeable future. It may take generations. You can take the societies of developed countries, and they still have marriages, but they do not have other regressive ideas related to the marriages. I guess we should endorse the love marriages, where people have interest to marry somebody, and they get married and they lead their lives. And we have got people questioning this love marriages based on the divorces they have there. So people have this thought as well. They get married, and after this, after some time, they get separated. I would request people to look at it in a look at this point in a positive way. Now, if you take arranged marriages that happen most of the cases here in our society, and after the marriage, they don't even have this liberty to tell someone if what they are going through. You may have domestic violence, domestic abuse, and they do not have anything else to do. They need to live with those kinds of abuses throughout the life. But if you take love marriages, if there is any domestic abuse or violence, they opt for this divorce there. So such kinds of things should happen. Now, we should not have any regressive ideas attached to the marriages, and we should treat marriages as some event that happens there. And we give a lot of importance to it. And we have got a lot of sayings saying that marriage is, we have this Ayirangalathu Payir, Kalyanam Ayirangalathu Payir. This itself is very regressive there. And marriages can happen n number of times. It is not like it should happen only once. So these kinds of regressive ideas should be dropped one by one, and we need to move towards that society. And of course, we may take generations. We had Periyar talking about this 100 years back, and I'm still writing a book about remarriage. I'm not very proud about it, and people think that we've done something that we need to be proud of. But if we look at this thing from my perspective, I do not feel proud about doing all these things. So she's just an individual. She wants to get married, and she does that. Nobody has right to nobody has the right to have any say on this. This is what I wish to say. Marriages will be there, but we need to disregard all the regressive ideas related to the marriage.
Thank you. Thank you. In fact, Periyar was not against marriages. In fact, he conducted scores of self-respect marriages, which you also mentioned about. But Periyar considered that marriages is used as a tool to suppress women. One of the root causes for women losing their identity is marriage is one of the reasons. At the tender age, they get married and give childbirth, and their entire woman life is revolved around the family, and she has become condemned in the society. In that sense, in fact, Periyar was against it. Thank you very much for your input.
Yes, thank you. Now, things changes will happen only step by step. We can't completely change everything there. So we need to take our ideas to the society. We need to see how these things can be implemented in the society. And I would say that Periyar is a perfect role model to do that. Okay? And of course, he was not against. He was against marriage, in fact. But he thought it would not be abolished at one go, and he started with the self-respect marriages. Like if you take this religions or faith, please excuse me if you believe in anything. This is just my opinion there. Can I talk about it? So, is it all right?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Okay. Now, if we look at this, the Periyar. But you know that he does not believe in God. He did not believe in God. But he did not, he fought for people who did not have access to temples. So he did not go and tell those people, you do not need to go to temples inside. Instead, he fought with them. He stood by them. He got the rights for those people to enter the temples and to do all those things. So like this, we need to go with all these changes step by step. So this is called pragmatic rationalism, as I've already told you. Things can happen, things can change, I believe.
There is a question in the chat box, Syed. The Kripa said he cannot unmute because of the noises around.
Okay.
Can you read it?
Yes,
Syed?
yes. Yeah, I can see these.
Yeah. No, for the benefit of others, I request Syed to read it, please.
No, go ahead. The question is there. Why don't you go ahead and answer?
Yeah, I am in a noisy. This is the question from Kuyilmozhi. I'm in a noisy place, can't unmute. It is much needed book, and both did well. Thank you. My question is, with marriage, what do you think about consent? Consent most of the time is mistaken for situational choices. Some marriage just. What do you think about consent? And consent most of the time is mistaken for situational choices. Like some marry just because they have to, or for financial support. How this construct in marriage or remarriage is to be taken and reviewed.
Yeah, so what he's saying is, now when you ask somebody for a consent, okay, it is not just the individual's own decision, okay, of providing a consent saying, yeah, I'm okay, not okay with this proposal, okay, for that boy or a girl. it is also surrounded by other things like there is say financial commitment involved. Okay, and hence say marriage as an institution, and there are other challenges like this which have to be overcome. So when there are challenges like this, in the case of a remarriage, how do we look at these kind of challenges? Maybe that's the question.
Okay, yes.
Marriage is not just about say an individual's free will, okay, or saying yes or no based on whether I like the other person or not. It is also about the allied say things associated with it. Okay, so he's asking not just in remarriage, both in marriage and remarriage, how are you going to break all those and just leave it as two individuals coming together rather than the other things around it?
Okay, okay. Now, of course, consent is very, very important for each and everything, not just for the marriage. We can be in any relationship. We can be with friends. We can be with family members. Be it any relationship, consent is very, very important. We can't do something that other person does not like. That is the most important thing I would say in all the relationships. Even when we text somebody, if that person does not like the way we text, we should give the liberty to other people to directly point out what we do there. So the consent is very, very important. Of course, the consent in our society is mistaken for all the situational choices. I completely agree with this. And especially with women, I do not think we have, they have a lot of liberty when it comes to this consent. So the consent is forced upon them by various social factors. Now, if they attain some age, we as a society force that they should get married, and they have this consent forced upon them. They don't have this free will to give somebody consent. They everything forced upon them. And the same case with financial support. I would say that everybody should be financially independent, and this is where the marriage comes into play and makes women completely dependent on men. So after the marriage, as I've told you, we have other social external factors forcing this consent that they should have a child. If you go ahead and ask a lot of women, they would not uh, agree with bearing a child, I guess. Of course, even if they believe that it is good, this is the consent that has been forced upon them. Okay, and this financial support, we should try to, one moment. So they should be financially independent when they get into this marriage or any other relationship. They should try to stay financially independent there. This is a major factor. So this financial dependency questions all other concerns. It seems like they do not have anything to decide whether they need something or not. They everything is everything is taken for granted there. Consent, I do not think after marriage women really have any say when it comes to this consent. Everything the other person does is kind of, they have this free will. They are allowed to do whatever they feel like. That is what I think. This consent can be better addressed in marriages that are not arranged by people, I guess. Okay.
Okay.
In remarriage, yes. In remarriage, of course, we have got other things too. I had this problem when I arranged this marriage. Before we fixed this person, I had interacted with two more people. I see. I did not know how to approach. I did not know how to get someone to marry to my mom. So she started talking to her friends. I told her that she should talk to her friends and other people whom she would know, so that they would tell her someone is there to marry her. So she asked me about two people. I met with them, and after a few days, she said she was not interested in marrying them. And of course, I did not have any question to ask. That is her wish. And when this person, when we decided with this person, I went there and I looked at his family, and she came to know about this person from friend of hers. So I decided that this person could be a right person based on many other factors. One, she is very near to this. He lives there now in the next village, just 2 kilometers away. Okay, so she could come any moment she wants. And the next point, I thought she had a friend with her opposite his house. So whenever she needs some help, she could go there and she could talk to her friend. I looked at all these factors and we decided that this person could be the right person. But before this, I had this talk with them. Uh, I told them this is like a one-time opportunity. If something goes wrong, I do not know. We may have one more opportunity to do the same thing. So it is kind of a forced thing there. And in remarriages, I think the options are very limited here in our society. When remarriages do not happen at all, when we look at the consent in remarriages, so I do not think it plays a role as it should play. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Great. Now, and I'm getting a slightly different perspective. Okay, if you don't mistake me, the perspective that I'm getting is it looks like it's an arranged remarriage. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah. So it
Yeah.
looks like the family came together to get that remarriage done. Yeah. While it is progressive, still it looks like there was a family required to make that happen.
Yes. Yes. Now. We have people not okay with marriage in the first place when it comes to love marriages. So they think they should arrange that, but when it comes to remarriages, I would agree with anything and everything as long as the marriage happens.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So it doesn't matter whether it is arranged or not. When it becomes normalized as marriages, then we would talk about regressive ideas here in the remarriages.
Very valid. Yeah, you are right. Very, very valid. Okay, so there's one more question. Okay, on say now marriage is one of the strengths. Okay, of our Indian culture. So, what is your view on that? If we are questioning that system itself.
Why is Kuyil smiling? What is the question? Marriage is a trend in Indian society.
No, strength of the Indian culture.
It's one of the strengths or one of the foundations or bedrock, okay, of our Indian culture. Okay, so and what is your view on that?
No, yeah, if we look at Indian culture, I would say this family system or marriage is the only thing that reinforces casteism, right? That reinforces casteism. Now we have this endogamy that is still there. I hope you know what this means there. People get married to people in their own community. And we have got a lot of problems arising here. We have honor killings just because one person gets married to somebody from other caste. Everybody, we do not have this broad view that everybody is a human. So if we look at the Indian society or the culture, marriage is the only thing that reinforces casteism. And we have Ambedkar discussing the same thing in a book called, as I told you, Castes in India. We have this endogamy, and when there are 4 points discussed there. The first thing, they find every way to ensure that a woman in a community is not married to somebody from the other community. They do everything that they could do to prevent that marriages do not happen outside their community, and it enforces the casteism there. So in Indian society, to oppose casteism, we should look at this marriages in a completely different perspective. Now that is this is a very bad thing here in Indian culture or the society here.
Okay, Arasi madam has a question. Okay, she's asking, what about the legal consequences, okay, of remarriage?
Yes, so this is a very important thing. Not only for remarriages, we should also ensure we have proper child care system as well. We need to move towards that society. Now, here, if we look at marriages, remarriages, we have people looking at remarriages only when somebody dies in a relationship. Okay? But we should also look at other cases. If they are divorced for other abuses, domestic abuses, domestic violence, you have a lot of things going on. You can go and look at the reports there. we've got most of women going through domestic abuse, and especially with the in the last 2 days due to this lockdown, the domestic abuse violence has gone up there dramatically.
Both ways. Yeah.
Yes, not both ways. Okay, so we can say both ways. Yes, you can take this in both ways. So when it comes to this, yeah.
Right? When you don't have statistics, have you every right to, yeah. Okay, go on. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. So yes. Now we have laws there, but we need to make them people friendly. And if they have children, if they wish to live separately, and we should see we have proper support there. The children are supported, and that is the only reason many people stay together, even if they don't wish to live together. And we need to have proper child care support. And once they get married, and we should see that they both of them contribute to the child care support there for if something happens in between them with them. Right. So when it comes to remarriages here, we are going to register the marriage legally. I do not think we have any legal problems with the remarriages. It is like the first marriage. We just need to submit the death certificate or the divorce certificate there, and we can register the next marriage. That is perfectly all right. But we need to change the thoughts of people. That is where we need to pay more attention to, not the legal things. We have a lot of legal steps taken, and those things can be taken. But when it comes to people's opinions, thoughts, and we need more time there.
Correct. Yeah, fully agree. The change has to come in the mind. Okay, then other things will automatically follow. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I know we are at top of the any other questions? Okay, I think this topic is getting more and more interesting. Okay, but some things are coming out.
I'm glad you say topic is interesting.
No, what you are saying is right. No, your perspective is valid, especially on remarriage. Like you said, say many things we have to start thinking very differently, look at it from a different perspective, and this is like a surgery. Okay, so we should not ask a question the doctor on why are you doing the surgery like A or B, etc. Okay, it has to happen. Then it will take its own course, and people will find their own partners over a period of time. But now, say it has to be slightly invasive and intrusive, and you've been a standing example of getting that done, and say being a fantastic example, I would say, for the society in this context. Okay, so this is it is amazing. You are not just an author, so you have lived it. So it's beyond. So which is very, very good to hear. So any other final comments before we close? I know we are already at 8 o'clock. So
yeah. Now, are you asking me or somebody else?
Others on the call. Others, they have been very quiet. So
I just want to add, Siddharthan, right? So, firstly, good job, Kuyilmozhi, for an excellent review, right? So,
Thank
the
you.
second time I'm in this group, so it's really good to hear from you. Of course, thanks to the author as well, Siddharthan. Just a small pointer there. So you mentioned that you don't have to take pride in what you did, but I think you should, Siddharthan, for a simple reason, right? So, your book, could encourage, someone somewhere, right? So, a kid, to help, her mother or father, for that matter, to explore that option, to check that choice. As Sayed said, it's a mindset thing. So, the environment should, give you options to, get into that mindset in the first place. So, books like yours, stories like yours, would help someone somewhere, I hope. And yeah, so thanks for that. Stop there.
yeah, fully agree. Thank you. Yeah. So any other thoughts and any other comments? So I'm intentionally not praising Queen because it looked like flattery, because she's now top notch. So she's in that top league. So
No, yes, I wish to say yes. I have shared my opinions, ideas, views about things. So if you have any different opinions, or if you think my views are wrong, please point out. I am still in the learning process. I have a lot of things to learn. I'm a very young fellow when compared to all the people I see there. So please let me know. I'm changing my views, ideas about everything. I keep changing things. I do not have the same opinion I had a few days back. So I keep changing things. And thank you for this opportunity here. And we have people listening to me for almost an hour. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So thank you, Kuyil, and thank you, Siddharthan. I think we can bring this to a close, but it has been a great job done by both of you. Thank you very much. So
Thank you, Anna.
very useful, very interesting topic. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you for another enlightening